this whole scam, or whatever you call irregularities, has been not committed by any one person or any one group of persons. It is the whole business.
Few names evoke as much fascination and notoriety as Harshad Mehta. Known as the Big Bull of Dalal Street, Mehta's story is a cautionary tale of ambition, market manipulation, hubris, and greed. Rising from humble beginning to become the darling of the Indian stock market in the early 1990s, Mehta's journey seemed to embody the promise of India's liberating economy. He was hailed as a financial wizard, a self-made millionaire who could turn everything he touched into gold. But beneath the glittering facade of success lay a web of fraud and market manipulation that would eventually lead to one of the biggest financial scandals in Indian history. This is the story of a man who rode the bull market to dizzying heights, only to fall spectacularly, leaving in his wake a shattered financial system and countless disillusioned investors. Born in 1954 in a small city in Gujarat, Harshad Mehta came from a modest Gujarati Jain family. His early years gave little indication of the financial empire he would later build. After completing his BCom degree, Mehta moved to Mumbai in 1976 to seek his fortune. Mehta's first job in Mumbai was as a sales representative at New India Assurance Company. However, he soon realized that his true calling lay in the stock market. He quit his job and started working as a jobber for broker Prasann Pranjivandas in 1981. This marked the beginning of his journey in the world of finance. Mehta was a quick learner and soon gained a reputation for his market acumen. In 1984, he established his own firm, Growmore Research and Asset Management, with the support of several established brokers. His rise in the stock market was meteoric. Mehta had an uncanny ability to predict market movements and seemed to have the Midas touch when it came to picking stocks. By the late 1980s, Harshad Mehta had become a prominent figure in the Indian financial world. He was known for his flamboyant lifestyle, owning a fleet of luxury cars and a sea-facing penthouse in Mumbai's upscale Worli area. The media dubbed him the Big Bull for his bullish stance on the stock market and his ability to drive up stock prices. Mehta's success story captivated the imagination of middle-class India. He was also seen as a symbol of the new liberalized India, where anyone with wit and will could make it big. His rags to riches story inspired many to invest in the stock market, fueling a boom that would come to be known as the Harshad Mehta Bull Run. Little did anyone know that behind this success story lay a complex web of financial manipulation that would soon unravel in spectacular fashion. At the heart of Harshad Mehta's meteoric rise was a complex financial fraud that exploited loopholes in the banking system. The scam, which came to be known as the 1992 Securities Scam, involved manipulating the stock market using funds fraudulently obtained from banks. Mehta identified a weakness in the banking system's manual processes. Banks in India were required to maintain a certain management of their deposits in government securities. To make these requirements, banks often bought securities amongst themselves. Mehta inserted himself into this process as a broker. He would approach a bank with an offer to buy securities at a slightly higher price than the market rate. Once the deal was made, instead of making the payment immediately, Mehta would obtain a bank receipt, BR. He would then use this BR to approach another bank claiming he had securities to sell. This second bank would issue a check which Mehta would use to settle the first transaction. This process, known as ready forward deals, allowed Mehta to access large amounts of bank funds for short periods. He would use this money to buy large quantities of shares, driving up their prices. Once the prices were inflated, he would sell these shares at a profit and return the money to the banks. Mehta's manipulations weren't limited to bank funds. He also exploited the manual settlement system of Bombay's stock exchange. By bribing bank officials, he obtained fake BRs which he used as collateral to obtain more funds to play the market. As Mehta's operations grew, so did the scale of his manipulation. He began to corner stocks, buying large quantities of select companies to drive up their prices. The most famous of this was ACC, Associated Cement Companies, whose share price Mehta already drove up from 200 Indian rupees to 9,000 Indian rupees in just 3 months. The stock market soared to unprecedented heights during this period. The Sensex, which was around 1,000 points in February 1991, rose to a high of 4,467 points by April 1992. This bull run, fueled largely by Mehta's manipulations, created a sense of euphoria in the market. For a while, it seemed that Mehta could do no wrong. He was hailed as a market genius, and investors hung on his every word. But with all financial bubbles, this one too was destined to burst, and when it did, the fall was catastrophic. The house of cards began to collapse in April 1992 when journalist Sacheta Dalal exposed Mehta's illegal methods in a series of articles in the Times of India. As news of the scam broke, panic gripped the market. The Sensex crashed, wiping out millions in investor wealth. Investigations revealed the staggering scale of the fraud. Mehta had siphoned off an estimated 4,000 crore Indian rupees, equivalent to 3.2 billion in 2020, a sum that shook the entire Indian financial system. Mehta was arrested in November 1992 and charged with 72 criminal offenses. He spent 3 months in custody before being released on bail. The legal battles that followed would consume the rest of his life. The fallout from the scam was far-reaching. Several banks and brokers were implicated, and many high-ranking executives lost their jobs. The scam exposed the glaring loopholes in the Indian financial system, leading to significant reforms in banking and stock market operations. Mehta maintained his innocence throughout, claiming he was a scapegoat for a corrupt system. He even stood for elections to the Lok Sabha in 1996, though unsuccessfully. Despite his attempt to rebuild his reputation, Mehta could never shake off the taint of the scam. His final years were spent fighting legal battles and trying to clear his name. Harshad Mehta died of a heart attack in 2001 at the age of 47, with many of the cases against him still pending. For many who lived through the era, Mehta remains a controversial figure. Some see him as a financial genius who gamed the inherently corrupt system, while others view him as a criminal who destroyed countless lives with his fraudulent schemes. Regardless of how he is perceived, Harshad Mehta's impact on the Indian financial landscape is undeniable. His story serves as a watershed moment in India's economic history, marking the end of an era of unchecked speculation and the beginning of a more regulated, transparent financial system.